Ever wonder what the best lens for YouTube is? Well, let's find out. Hey guys, welcome back. It's Michael Wenzel here, and we're talking about the best lens for your YouTube videos. The lens you choose for your YouTube videos is gonna have a huge impact on how your audience perceives you, whether you like it or not. And the word best or best lens isn't actually the best choice of words. It really depends on your application. So for example, if you're going to the car dealership and you're asking, I want the best car, it's really gonna depend on what you're after. Are you looking for the fastest car? Are you looking for the safest car? What are you after? And that's the same thing with lens choice. It really depends on what effect you're trying to get across. So let's talk about the different choices out there, and then you can choose which one is the best for you. So right now I'm filming on a 24mm lens. So that gives you a really wide field of view, which means in order for me to fill the picture that you're seeing, I have to get really close to the lens. Otherwise, I'll show you, as soon as I go away, I get really small, tiny. Get that out of the shot. The effect that has on you, the viewer, is that because I'm so close to the lens, it feels like you and I are having a really personal conversation. I'm right in front of you. This doesn't happen when you're using a longer lens. So let's switch to the longer lens, and I am gonna back the tripod off a bit so that we can kind of keep me in the same proportion of the frame. So now, even though you can see my face, you can't really see my periphery. Before in the wider angle lens, you were able to see the arms of the couch, more of the surroundings. Now you just see my face. As you have a longer lens, you need to back the camera away more and more to maintain kind of the same proportions of my face to the frame, and that creates that impersonal feel. It is great if you want to come across as a very professional person. So someone who's giving a lecture, for example, it's very common in a lecture hall to see someone from far away. And this kind of simulates that. As you can see for me, I'm all about those wide angle lenses. I really like it to feel like you and I are having a cup of coffee, and that the stuff I'm talking about comes across in a really personal way. The next thing you want to think about is what aperture to use when you're filming your YouTube videos. So I like prime lenses because they allow the flexibility of either a very wide aperture or narrow aperture. The great thing about a wide aperture, which typically prime lenses are known for, is that it allows the background to be blurry while your subject stays nice and sharp. So right now I'm shooting at f1.4, and that allows you to see me in really great focus while the background kind of melts away. Works great in my house because I have a really lame background back there, just a purse hanging on the wall. Whereas for some of you, you might have a gear wall that you want to show off or some awesome art. In those cases, it's nice to go to a more narrow aperture. Just keep in mind that you will get less light into the sensor that way, which means you might need to add another light in your room. Right now I'm just using a window, and that's enough for me. One issue with using a wider aperture is that if you do kind of move around, like this for example, well, you're gonna be out of focus and it's gonna be super distracting for your audience. It's no fun to watch a video like this. There are workarounds. So for example, Canon cameras have a dual pixel autofocus during video, which just tracks your face really organically. I'm shooting on a Canon camera right now. If I'm looking at you here and then suddenly just swing back here, within a couple seconds, the autofocus has my face again, and it just tracks it very well. So bottom line, if you are going to film yourself at a wide aperture, make sure you pick a camera that has some autofocus in it, or just stay perfectly still. So just remember these two things when you're selecting your lens for your next YouTube video. Number one, am I going for a personal vibe, or am I going for a more professional vibe? If you're going for something more personal, then you may want to consider the 24mm to 35mm range. Whereas if you're going for something more professional, you're thinking about 50 to 135mm. And then again, you want to think about your background. Is it a really nice background? Is it really ugly? If you want to get it out of focus, then you're going to need a prime lens that opens up nice and wide. Otherwise, you can use a zoom lens or a prime lens to get something that has a bit of a narrower aperture. And once you've done that, then all the cool stuff in your background is really gonna show up as well. So what is the best lens for YouTube? Well, for me, it's the 24mm 1.4 Mark II from Canon. It's great because it gives me that personal vibe, and it also allows me to open the aperture really wide to allow the background to just kind of melt away. So it works great for me, but again, totally different for everyone, and it completely depends on what you're going for. If you like this video, leave a like or comment below, and subscribe if you haven't already. We'll see you guys in the next one.